Hi everyone, as promised, here is my video on my Kino Lorber collection on 4K so far. And I know Alan Jones has exactly the same collection, he's shown it on Facebook. So there are 17 4K releases so far have hit the market from Kino Lorber. And I'm going to take you through all 17. I'm not going to show you all the discs of each release because Kino Lorber has a specific label design which is identical on every disc, so it's pretty pointless. But I will show you the front and back, of course, of each slipcover. So there's been some fantastic titles have come out in the last actual 3 years, would you believe, from Kino Lorber on 4K. Now, Kino Lorber is a well-established label in the States anyway for classic and contemporary releases on Blu-ray. And they have produced some amazing titles over the years, but 4K was their foray in early 2019. So I'm going to start. I have a list of all the titles here, and I'm going to give you all the dates of releases, which might prove very useful for you. So it all started with this little baby, and this came out from Kino Lorber back on the 30th of April 2019. Now, of course, I got very excited about this when it was announced because this had been the first 4K release of any one of the Thomas Harris novels to film. At that point, there had not been a 4K release of Silence of the Lambs. Don't worry, it's coming soon. So this is Hannibal, the third of the Thomas Harris films, of course. And as you can see, there is the reverse of the slipcover. So you have this very specific design with Kino Lorber, where they have this grey bar across the centre and images across the top here, and you get a very, very strong bar at the bottom with the information of the timing of the film, also the resolution, which is 4K, 3840 by 2160 pixels, subtitles English, and the year the film was made. So I quite like that very consistent design with Kino Lorber 4K, and I take it out and I'll show you what the discs look like. I'm only going to do this once, guys, because they all look the same. So this is Hannibal, and as you can see, this one is the 4K release on this side. And I just move it across my face a second. And this one is the Blu-ray. Be warned, 4K is region free, but Blu-ray is always region locked. Always region A. So if you don't have a multi-region Blu-ray player, you cannot play the Blu-ray. And the problem there, of course, is all the features are on the Blu-ray. They leave all of the resolution and bitrate on the 4K, and there are no features on the 4K. So that's what started the ball rolling, was Hannibal. This is an amazing transfer. The colours are superb on this, and it is just fantastic. And that was the first of the Kino Lorber 4Ks. Right, moving on, we have the second, and this one, of course, heralded the introduction of this franchise to 4K. On the 20th of November 2020, we got Mad Max. Fantastic cover art on this. Absolutely loved it. Ordered it the second it sort of got announced, and it was on pre-order. Now, of course, all the rest came much, much further down the line. And that, of course, was the other 3 films in that particular part of the franchise. We'd already had Mad Max Fury Road well before this. And, of course, Warner Brothers released the other films, including Mad Max. But Mad Max, I don't think, got a single release. It was in the box set in America and here in the UK. We got it much later than America, of course, which we always do, quite frankly. I don't know why they do that. Why they make us wait, I have no idea. This is the rear of the Mad Max release from Kino Lorber on 4K. Again, an absolutely stunning transfer. I haven't been able to compare it to Mad Max Warner Brothers version because I never bought the box set. Quite frankly, I didn't see the point. I had this from Kino Lorber. I then bought the 2 American releases, Road Warrior and Thunderdome. And then I already had Mad Max Fury Road. So what was the point in buying a 60 quid box set? You know, I've got money to burn, guys, you know what I mean? So this basically is it. That was the second 4K release, 24th of November, 2020. Film, of course, from 1979, Mad Max. Then we had this little one. I was quite surprised when they announced this because this wasn't one I'd expect to ever hit 4K. But there you go, the very first Mel Brooks film on 4K, the fantastically funny Spaceballs. 13th of April 2021 we got this, and this of course is Spaceballs. And there you go, there's the rear of the cover. Lots of features on that, as you can see. A lot of them were on the original US Blu-ray release, but to be honest, it's just nice to have them all on one single 4K. So that's a super little film, and I always have loved Spaceballs. If you're a Mel Brooks fan like I am, and I'm a nut for Mel Brooks, Spaceballs was a must-have for me. Then we have this one. Bit of controversy around this one. The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. It was the first of the Sergio Leone spaghetti westerns. 27th of April 2021, this hit the shops. And of course, one of the main areas of controversy was it wasn't HDR, it was SDR. To be honest, it doesn't make a blind bit of difference. It still looks absolutely superb. Let me talk about grain hating. I'm not a grain hater. Movies have grain in them. 4Ks maybe amplify that grain somewhat depending on what you're viewing your 4K on. But at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, the grain was in there when it was released in the cinema. It's going to be in there when it's released on disc. I don't mind the grain in this. It is strong in some parts, but to be honest with you, the film looks superb. If you look at the 4K compared to the Blu-ray release of this, not the Kino Lorber Blu-ray, of course, but the standard Blu-ray that's been available in the shops for many years, there's just no comparison. It's washed out on that Blu-ray. It shines on this one. Of course, this here, back to old slipcover again. This is so hard to find now because it went out of slipcover pretty quickly on this one. So you really did have to be an early adopter with The Good, the Bad and Ugly to get the slipcover. Now you're paying upwards to £100 for this to get that with a slipcover on it. I was so pleased when this arrived. It got announced and I thought, oh my goodness, wonderful. It's probably one of the best, apart from maybe The Shawshank Redemption, the best Stephen King movies based on one of his books. Fantastic performances from Kathy Bates and James Caan, especially James Caan. Kathy Bates won an Oscar for her performance in this film, Misery. This was released from them on 4K 12th of October last year. I cannot fault the transfer on this one, guys. Fantastic set of features on it as well, and it just looks absolutely amazing. I just love Misery, and I even fell in love more with the film when I watched it again on this 4K release. Still available and probably down in price now. Get your hands on this, it's superb. Now, this one. Criterion got there first with their 4K restoration of Silence of the Lambs, of course. But Kino Lorber gave us the native 4K of Silence of the Lambs. And here it is. Different slipcover, of course, from the Criterion. Different artwork, I mean. But this looks superb on 4K, I have to say. It's a classic movie, multi-Oscar winner. I think it won 5 Oscars when it came out in 1991, of course. Took the world by storm, really. And, of course, to me, always Jodie Foster's best ever performance in this as Clarice Starling. And there is the rear of the outside slip. And, again, a lot of the features double up on this from previous releases. Including the Criterion version. Some of the features are ported over. But to be honest, it's faultless. It looks fantastic from the opening titles onwards. That very distinctive titling over the images at the beginning from Jonathan Demme, a fantastic director anyway. This really is his masterwork as far as I'm concerned. And I love the artwork on this. I love the artwork on all the Kino Lorber 4K covers, and you'll see the design is fantastic. Kino Lorber wrote this out 19th of October last year, and I had my pre-order in months earlier. Fantastic release, Silence of the Lambs. Now this one was a bit of a surprise. It's a 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, if you remember the black and white movie from the 50s, it was really good, but of course, this was a bit more definitive in the sense of who was in it, of course, with Donald Sutherland playing the central role in this one, and Brooke Adams. I thought, was Brooke Adams in it? Yes, and Leonard Nimoy and Jeff Goldblum all starring in this. And of course, it's from 1978, and it's the what some people will call the definitive version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It released on the 23rd of November last year. I had the Arrow release of this, and I ordered this anyway because I actually hadn't got around to watching the Arrow version of it. Of course, this is just better quality. Again, there's grain in there. There is grain in there, but it's not that noticeable, to be honest. Again, superb features on this, great features, and it's a great 70s movie. It's just really one of its time. And I watched it again when I got this disc, and I didn't feel it had aged that much, because sometimes films from the 70s, it's my phone, sorry, films from the 70s age really quickly, I find sometimes, but this didn't. Like the cover art on this as well. Very well done. I thoroughly enjoyed rewatching this film. Now, this one was their first misstep, for want of a better word, I suppose. They didn't get the encoding on this quite right. There were initial problems when it was released. First released in December 2021, 7th of December to be exact. And the problem with it, I think a lot of people were wanting a replacement disc, of course. It didn't really happen in the way they planned. It got re-released by Kino Lorber in 22nd of February of this year. I held off on it. I saw the early warnings, and I was just about to buy it because I love this Claude Van Damme film, one of my favourites. The problem is I didn't go for it because I thought, no, it's going to be more hassle being on this side of the pond, trying to get a replacement disc sent to me from America. Would they even do it, quite frankly? So I thought, I'll hang on, I'll just hang fire, I can live without it for a few months. Further down the line, sure enough, it got re-released, and I bought the new version of Hard Target with the corrected video encoding on it. But it was a first misstep from Kino Lorber, and so far, it's been their only one. And there's certainly labels that have had a lot more trouble. I'm not going to mention any names. One of them begins with A. You know which one I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it because you're all thinking it. They're absolutely atrocious at the minute. You need to get your act together, guys. The A team, as I call them. So they're becoming the B team at the minute. Anyway, Kino Lorber's flying past you with regards to quality, so you need to step up your game, guys. Back to KL. I'm a big fan of KL, generally speaking. This is a superb transfer of Hard Target. Again, you know, being it's a 1993 movie, it's very well filmed anyway. And it looks great on 4K. Now, this, of course, is The Great Escape, the fantastic John Sturges movie from 1963. A absolutely stellar cast in this. Criterion did do a fantastic release of this from the same transfer, 4K restoration on Blu-ray, but this did slightly overtake it. Again, grain in this as well, but because of the film, it was made in 1963. You know what I mean? Back then, there was a bit of grain in films when they were made. But the features on this one, absolutely superb. I love the film. I've always loved it since I was a boy, really. And who doesn't? It's always on TV at Christmas. Well, it's maybe not so much now, but certainly used to be all the time on TV. What can I say? Practically 7 minutes short of a 3-hour trip down memory lane, The Great Escape. This one also came out from Criterion a couple of years back, but they got the license for 4K, Kino Lorber. Fantastic artwork on this, some like it hot. What can I say about this Billy Wilder classic? That hasn't been said, and this is the first black and white Kino Lorber 4K release. This one came out, sorry I didn't give you the Great Escape date, 11th of January this year, The Great Escape. Some Like It Hot came out 7 days later, the 18th of January. I love the transfer on this. This is better than the Criterion transfer, and it makes black and white shine. It's the darkness of the blacks and the brightness of the whites. It's such a strong contrast, and you honestly think the film would have been made last week. It looks so good, and it's just a fantastic set of performances from Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, and the wonderful Jack Lemmon. Get this in your collection. I know some people don't like watching black and white movies, but this is a comedy classic, guys, from 1959. It will live in history. Some like it hot. And there's the rear of the slipcover. And I just absolutely adore the artwork. I think it's just superb, and I love the way it's not quite the shot from the film. It's like a sort of not a Photoshop. That's cruel to say that, but it's sort of a graphic designed version of it, and I love that. And I love the way you have the lettering at the bottom of it. It sort of has that slight 50s look to it, which I love, and they've also repeated it on other releases from that period as well. This one came out from Studio Canal. This is a Studio Canal transfer of Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. Now, to be honest, I bought the Studio Canal version. I've got that as well, because this came out on Studio Canal before Kino Lorber announced it. Kino Lorber released this on the 22nd of February this year. Fantastic central performance from Gary Oldman, backed up with people like Ciarán Hinds, Tom Hardy. Oh, wow, what a cast. Benedict Cumberbatch. There's the rear of the 4K, nice features on this one, and a really great story telling of Smiley in film form. There'd been the TV versions of George Smiley, of course, played by Sir Alec Guinness, but this, quite frankly, I love Gary Oldman as Smiley, and very understated performance as well in Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. Right, my goodness, we're more than halfway through the 17 now. Look at this. Oh, I didn't get the box set Arrow release of The Apartment, the Arrow Academy release, but to be honest, I did buy the Blu-ray. It's gone now. There's no point in keeping it. When this baby arrived and when I watched it, I thought, my God. Oh, well, Jack Lemmon is superb in this film, and so is Shirley MacLaine. And it's from 1960. If you've never seen The Apartment, another Billy Wilder film, incidentally, watch The Apartment. It's amazing. It's such a wonderful story in there. Fred McMurray, of course, from Double Indemnity's in there as well as his boss. And there's the rear of it. Great features on this. Fantastic commentary on this as well. Just love this film. And love this release on 4K. So pleased the Kino Lorber got the license for this and put this out. I think they're just so brave on so many fronts, in the sense of they're bringing so many classic films, but also more modern contemporary films on 4K. And I think it's a lovely mix of the two. Now, another example of that mix again is this one. Been various releases of this through the years, but never have I seen the three versions all together on a 4K release like this. And this was reconstructed in 1998 from his 58-page memo that he wrote. The theatrical version, which was released in theatres in 1958, and the preview version that's created prior to the theatrical version. It's like a collector's dream, touch of evil. It's 1958, black and white, Orson Welles, what can I say? I mean, Citizen Kane got his 4K release last year from Criterion. This is just an amazing movie. Fantastic, again, central performance, of course, from the man himself. Fantastic surrounding cast here, featuring lots of people like Janet Leigh and the wonderful Charlton Heston. Ah, my goodness, absolutely. Oh, Marlene Dietrichson, of course. Wonderful film. Fantastic to have so many versions of it on the one disc. And the transfer looks astonishing. Am I selling these to you by any chance? Right, this one here. I used to have this on the... I still do, actually. I don't used to. It's downstairs in a box. HD DVD, a release of this came out many years ago of this film by David Cronenberg. It's not one of his normal types of movies, I would say. Fantastic central performance in this from Viggo Mortensen. It's Eastern Promises. Now, they've been talking about this coming out for some time, and it did come out, and Kino Lorber did it, and I'm so glad they did it. HDR, Dolby Vision, wonderful transfer again on this, Fantastic features. Not many on the disc, as you'll see when I show you. Not many features on this disc. But, sorry, I've not missed the release dates there. So The Apartment came out 8th of March 2022. Touch of Evil was out on the... was delayed, actually, to the 15th of March from the 14th of February. And Eastern Promises was the 22nd of March. So we're really coming closer now to today's date. So, wonderful 4K release. Again, what can I say so far? The only Cronenberg film on 4K? Not really. No, Crash beat them to it, unfortunately. Arrow's Crash. But there you go. What can I say? Eastern Promises. I still love Naomi Watts' performance in this as well. Very different role for her as well. Oh my goodness. It's one of my all-time favourites, Sidney Poitier, is this one, In the Heat of the Night. Fantastic cover art on this from the Kino Lorber 4K. Criterion again had done a little while back. With the restoration on 4K. This, of course, is the native. And what I love about this is you get the second film, the sequel, They Call Me Mr. Tibbs from 1970, also on this release. Nice features as well, as you see from the rear. Fantastic central performance from Sidney Poitier. Oscar-winning performance from Rod Steiger, of course. Wonderful, wonderful film, In the Heat of the Night. Right, we're coming right up to date now. These two aren't even released as I record the video. They're coming out supposedly in the US on the 31st of May, but I have got them both early. The first one is the Sergio Leone spaghetti western. We were all waiting for the other two. They have arrived. Here is A Fistful of Dollars. Fantastic looking again. Wonderful Clint Eastwood film. Nice set of features. Again, love the cover artwork on this. This is currently on sale, of course, through US outlets. We can't buy direct. I'm not sure we can buy directly from Kino Lorber here in the UK. Please correct me, somebody, if you know we can. I've usually ordered my stuff from various other sources, including Amazon US. And this little baby to finish us off. There we go. They are both due for release, according to this, on the 31st of May. And as I record this video, it is May the 29th. Hopefully I'll get this up on YouTube for all of you to see before the 31st of May. So it makes some sense that I'm showing you pre-releases rather than releases that have just come out. Now, before I go, I'm going to give you a list of what's to come, and there are some fantastic 4Ks down the line. So get your pre-order wallet ready for Out of Sight, coming on the 20th of June. Great film. Killer's Kiss from Stanley Kubrick, 20th of June. The Killing from Stanley Kubrick, 26th of July. I think you're seeing a pattern form here. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, coming 26th of July. They announced it recently. Tropic Thunder, no date given as yet. Ronin, no date given as yet. The Taking of Pelham 123 from 1974, still no date announced, but on its way. To Live and Die in LA, Friedkin's film, also coming soon. It was announced to come spring this year, but it's not been released yet. High Plains Drifter, another Eastwood Western from Kino Lorber, coming down the line soon. The fantastic Manchurian Candidate, that's the 60s version, coming soon. Rawhead Rex, coming soon. Underworld, surprisingly, coming soon. 12 Angry Men, who hasn't got that in their Criterion collection? The 4K of that from Sidney Lumet, coming soon. The Usual Suspects has already been announced, on its way. Another Kubrick, Paths of Glory from 1957, on its way. A strange choice, this one, but I'm pleased we're getting it. Mystery Men. Dressed to Kill, the De Palma film. The Night of the Hunter, the only film ever directed by Charles Laughton, coming to 4K from Kino Lorber. In Bruges, we know it's already had an Arrow release, but it's coming to 4K. Crybaby, the Joan Waters comedy, and finally Manhunter from 1986, of course, with a different Hannibal Lecter. So that's some exciting stuff that has been announced on its way from Kino Lorber. I will probably be buying all of those, so my collection of 17 will go quite a lot higher than 17. Kino, keep it up. Keep it up. I'm a big fan. I'm not going to desert you. You haven't made a mistake yet in regards to your choice of releases. So on that, I will leave you all to ponder and maybe look at your credit card balance, because you might be very tempted to start buying some of those releases. Most of them are still available. The only one you're going to have to struggle with a little bit is The Good, the Bad and the Ugly now. You'll get it, but you might not get it with a slipcover, but you'll certainly be able to buy it. But obviously, it's just about being an early adopter some of the time, especially with stuff that comes out in America. So I hope you enjoyed this. A next video I'm going to do, again, departure from my usual Criterion stuff. I'm planning to do a video of all of the Paramount Presents titles that I've bought so far. I'm getting a little collection there. I haven't bought every single one, and I'll explain why when I do that video. So obviously I don't want every Paramount Presents title, because some of them already have on Blu-ray. Some of them come out on the premium collection from HMV and I bought them there, so I didn't feel the need to double dip. We're always double dipping all the time. I mean, the worst example of double dipping, quite frankly, I know I'm going off at a tangent slightly here, is Malignant. What the heck? Honestly, seriously, why the heck didn't they just bring the thing out in 4K to start with? Because we all would have bought it. It's made us all think about buying. Well, most of us have probably bought it twice now. I certainly have. Anyway, what can I say? They just keep doing it to us, don't they? And we're suckers for it. We just keep buying the bleeding things. Anyway, on that note, I am going to leave you, and I'll see you next time around on either a Criterion video or the Paramount Presents video. Keep well, everybody. See you soon.